Welcome to Intuitive Astrology with Molly McCord. Thank you so much for joining me today, as this is a Monday podcast episode where we discuss a particular astrological topic or theme. And today we are looking at Ceres in Aries as she moves into the first sign of the zodiac on May 16th, 2025, and has an extended stay through Aries until March 16th. 2026, and that's because of her upcoming retrograde in the second half of 2025. So we have themes and energies to look at here with Ceres in Aries, but we also have to pull in the fact that we have other important planets in Aries as well that are a part of a bigger story. So we know that Saturn will enter into Aries for 3 months, just over 3 months in 2025. Neptune is in the early degrees of Aries as well. Plus we have Chiron moving through the third decan of Aries, and all of these planets, all 4 of them, are important for you to connect and understand in the Aries house or houses in your chart. And the reason why is because each of them is an important archetypal expression and signals that you are learning and discovering more of who you came here to be in this lifetime. The Aries energy is where we reset, begin again, and move forward with a clear understanding of who you are. But in Aries, questions come up around, well, who am I? What do I want? What matters to me? And so there could be a sense here that you are leveling up and moving into new self-awareness around what you want, who you are, and a broader understanding of your full energy that is being reprogrammed in your root chakra, which is the energy that Aries rules. It's also where we have our first seeds of initiations, impulses, creation. It's where we want to get going, we want to get moving. So I feel that when we're looking at Ceres entering Aries, that's an important archetypal energy to be aware of in terms of what you are realizing and embodying now. And then we pull in how Saturn and Neptune are also working in those same areas of your chart. And so that's why this isn't just going to be about Ceres and Aries. No, we have to look at the bigger themes that are emerging here and take a holistic approach into what you're starting, that I feel like in terms of looking at these energies, I'm feeling like there are new chapters we are moving into for the first time in our soul's earth-based lifetimes. That part of what we are pulling in through that root chakra is meant to be energy we put and stabilize not only in ourselves, but in the earth. One of the powerful visualizations I was receiving about this energy is that we are now creating new archetypal imprints, that we are meant to be empowered with intentionally choosing more of our self-identity now, and to look at where we're ready to disrupt the status quo, to break away from traditional roles and outdated descriptions. Because how I'm seeing this energy, it's really fascinating, is that I was seeing it as incoming galactic beings merging with ancient identities and archetypes. So it was bringing together very different frequencies that are now merging here on the planet, creating and forming new ways of being ourselves with an understanding of the fullness of our energy. So basically, I'm seeing this as a converging of timelines that hold different imprints of your sense of self. And with this influence of these planets in Aries, it's actively creating who you are and who you want to be that reflects how far you've come, what you've learned, what you've grown through, what you've healed, and to help you feel empowered in this new sense of self. So I will go into more of the archetypal descriptions here in today's show, but that was one of the inspirations for going into this topic, is because at first I thought we would just be discussing Ceres in Aries. But as I looked at these energies and how we have a very unique presence of planets in early Aries, there's going to be much more here for us to consciously work with. So let's get into the energies of Ceres, and then we will move into what it means as she dances with both Saturn and Neptune in Aries into 2026. So Ceres is known as the mother asteroid, the mother of the asteroids, and she's located between Mars and Jupiter in the asteroid belt. Her energy is commonly linked to Taurus, as she is about fertility, abundance, and the harvest, what grows, develops, and flourishes on the earth, as she is deeply connected to what comes from the earth. And this is how she's related to Taurus. Now, she's also heavily linked to Cancer and lunar energies because of her mothering archetype. And in order to understand the mothering archetype, we have to go into the mythology associated with Ceres. She was the mother of Persephone, and Persephone was kidnapped by Hades, also known as Pluto, and taken into the underworld for half the year. Persephone was kidnapped and lost her innocence by being pulled into the shadow, dark, really hidden realms of Hades. And it was actually through this experience that Persephone was able to stand and move into more of her power. She came to understand both sides of the light-dark continuum, where previously she had a perspective of simplicity, peacefulness, harmony, and a sweet naivete about what it meant to live on the planet. And then as she was kidnapped by Hades, taken into the underworld, she started to go deeper into her own feelings and into the depths of experiences that she didn't necessarily want. And yet here she was moving through these darker realms. So Persephone was then empowered to move through even more than she ever anticipated because of this experience with Hades' abduction. And it was actually Mercury who was the one that negotiated with Pluto, with Hades, to allow Persephone to return to the earth and be with her mother for half the year. And so Persephone's journey is connected to the times of the season where the earth turns over, where she moves into the underworld during Scorpio season and is returned to be with her mother and to live above the earth during Taurus season. It is also said that Ceres, in all her power, was able to connect the seasons to how she was feeling when her daughter was gone. So as her daughter left into the underworld during Scorpio season, that is when leaves fall to the ground, the harvest is over, and her feelings of grief are more readily apparent and felt during Scorpio season. Then when her daughter returns during Taurus season, there is a blooming brightness that returns to the earth. There is more creativity, fertility, desire to make the world bright and beautiful again because her daughter has been returned to her. Now, it's important to understand this mythology because it relates directly to the archetypal understandings that we have of Ceres. So Ceres is not only about the mother and mothering, she represents what it means to be a parent and to allow your child to have their own experiences where you have to let go. And there's a grief that comes with that. You have to allow them to experience their own journey, whatever that might be, and to separate yourself from the child. So of course, this is represented in the mythology energetically and physically, but looking at how part of being a parent is knowing that your child is becoming their own individual self and that they need to stand on their own and do things independently, but that can bring up a loss and grief in terms of your desire to protect them, to give to them, or take care of them. All of these are themes associated with Ceres. And so she represents not only what it means to be a mother or a parent, how you can have that push-pull of you love your child so much and you want to protect them, but you know you have to let them go, especially especially as they age, they go through adolescence, they become more young adults and their own person in the world. But the other component here is going into more of the intense experiences of grief in regards to a child, whether you lose a child through miscarriage, a stillborn, death, or even giving up a child to be adopted or for foster care. So the full spectrum of what it means for the biological mother to be separated from their child is part of the energy of Ceres in your chart. So I share that because it is very specialized. But for some people, this connects many dots. This helps you understand more of your journey and more of the symbolism in your astrology chart. Then you would look at Ceres in your natal chart for these imprints and your energetic experience of them. Ceres in a chart also relates to how you parent, nurture, and provide. This could be symbolized through your own mother, your experience of your mother as your Ceres placement. In fact, Ceres and your moon sign would be related to how you experience and feel your own mother, as well as how you might mother, nurture, and parent. I do have a separate podcast on that topic even more. Let's see, that one is from November 2023. Love, loss, and your emotional well-being. Connections between your moon and Ceres energies. So that is available on YouTube. I'll put a link below this podcast if you want to check it out and go more into this topic. Ceres is how you emotionally attach and bond. It is your connection needs, and again, can relate to not only your experiences of your mother, but how you seek attachments and connections with others. Now, Ceres can be important during matters of divorce or separation, or if you're widowed, if there's an experience that comes up where the other parent is not 100% available or is not always present. This is also related to Ceres, who, I hate to say it, she was co-parenting with Hades. Like, she had to deal with having half the year with her daughter. And so that's why she's associated with co-parenting, where there are separate households, separate environments that the child moves through, and how that affects the feminine, how that brings up the feelings, grief, loss, separation energies that then have to be experienced and processed. So Ceres is any co-parenting energies, any disconnections, any estrangement issues, parental abandonment, rejection, or adoption themes come up here too. So if you know you were adopted, but you don't know who your biological mother is, for example, this would also be an energy signature that Ceres represents in your chart. So you can see here how she is complex in what she symbolizes and represents, but she also brings in some beautiful understandings, not only into our consciousness, but into our astrology chart, where when you start to look at this placement for yourself, you're going to start to see things in a new light and in a new way. So as Ceres lost her daughter for half the year, she then had to tend to matters that she could control, including her own energy, self-care, her priorities, and that's where she then turned to agriculture, her own practices, a daily rhythm with life, understanding what was a good use of her energy, especially while honoring what she was really feeling. And so when we discuss agriculture, harvest, tending to the earth, I also think of Virgo. I think that she is also part of a triad of energies between Taurus, Cancer, and Virgo, where she allows us to feel what we feel, but be practical about it. Take care of what you need to tend to. Listen to your body. Listen to the wisdom that you're holding and moving through, and trust what you need. So not only does she desire to nurture others, but she's learning how to nurture herself. So that is another theme here of Ceres in your chart, how you nurture yourself, what you seek to take care of your needs, and how you honor it responsibly and often very prudently, where there's a sense of let me focus on this and not overwhelm myself with everything else. So I hope this helps place the energies of Ceres in your chart. Now let's look at how her moving into Aries is important here. So she moves into Aries May 16th, 2025, and stays in Aries until March 16th, 2026. That's 10 months, which is an extended amount of time in the sign, and that's because she will have a retrograde. Ceres will get to 16 degrees of Aries on August 11th, and then station retrograde, 16 degrees of Aries, and travel back to 2 degrees of Aries until November 22nd, 2025. So she's going to be spending the most amount of time in your chart between 2 degrees and 16 degrees of Aries. This brings a focal point of energy to what she is now bringing your attention to and moving you forward. Ceres in Aries is ready for a new start, a new chapter to begin. And because she's associated with self-care, parenting, emotional well-being, family relationships, and what is being harvested, she is going to be initiating a new creation cycle in your life. And again, this is occurring mostly in that first half of Aries, which we know is also where Saturn and Neptune are going to be working with you as well. So what's important here is to know that it's time for a new chapter to begin based on what you've moved through and realized, based on what you have healed and what you've come to understand around matters that are important to you, important to your heart, and important to your family, whatever that looks like in your life. This could be new families starting, new beginning points in parenting, motherhood, children, family dynamics, but there could also be a sense here of understanding where you need to go your own way, because that Aries energy is independence, the courage to do what you need to do because it's right for you. The ability to stand on your own, a new sense of independence. I feel that this energy is disrupting lineages. It's meant to change up family dynamics and to allow whatever has been passed down across generations to be closed out. It feels like there's meant to be an acknowledgement of what you've been through, absolutely. But now it's time to stand on your own and look at what you want to consciously choose. I feel this is an empowered, self-sufficient Ceres in Aries that is choosing what she needs, but I'm feeling a caveat around that because she's choosing it with self-awareness and an understanding of how to move something forward, which is also one of the Aries themes. How do I move this dynamic forward? How do I make a new and better choice? And many of you who are aware of this, you are the leader in this paradigm shift. You are changing something in your family, and I'm feeling it very strongly towards the maternal lineage, but of course trust whatever resonates with you and don't force it if it doesn't. But the maternal lineage, something needs to shift and change, and there could be an experience you've been moving through that is coming to your awareness and your understanding. I'm the generational disruptor. I am the paradigm shifter here that is changing this trajectory for my family, for myself, for my children, for my children's children, and I'm doing so with higher consciousness and new awareness around what has been. So this can also be deeply related to mother wounding, mother imprints, the mother that you have, the mother you did not have that you needed. An acknowledgement of who someone is with full acceptance of her energy in your life. But this is meant to give you clarity and understanding that it's time to choose what is best for you. And so with Ceres moving into Aries, there's going to be a new awareness around what is best for you with that understanding of how it affects the bloodline. And Aries is our blood. Aries is that adrenaline, that excitement, that desire to move towards something, what gets your blood pumping, what gets you excited and ready to go. And so this is related to bloodline themes and some type of important new start that you're being guided to move into. So then we feel the influence and prominence of Neptune in Aries and Saturn in Aries, as they are also requiring us to make a new start in our lives, to initiate a fresh chapter with the courage to be yourself, do something different, and go your own way. Right as Ceres enters Aries, she then has a conjunction to Neptune in Aries at 1 degree, May 20th through 22nd. And this is potentially a deep awareness, downloads, and messages around the significance of your mother or being a mother in this lifetime. That Neptune conjunction could bring up more than you expected. And because these are intuitive downloads, it might be hard to grasp it or place it all at once. But I feel that there is a revival energy here of understanding a soul contract with your mother to be a mother, perhaps soul contracts with your children, with a spouse or a partner. I mean, this could go off in many directions, so simply trust what resonates for you. But Neptune conjunct Ceres, I think, brings in a sense of that's what this is about in order to support my soul growth. And those aren't always easy things to understand. But there is a potential here for Neptune to offer the higher wisdom, as well as what you had to learn or had to go through on your own in order to shape and form you into more of your true self. So after that conjunction with Neptune, there is this energy of Ceres busting forward, moving ahead, and reclaiming more of who she is now. I feel that this is a strong energy of becoming, of who are you becoming? Who are you actively choosing to be more of in this lifetime? And I feel that pertains to the multiple planets in Aries, where it's not simply about the Ceres energy here, but it also brings into play again that Neptune in Aries, and then Saturn moves into Aries May 24th until September 1st, 2025. So with the strong Aries energy, we're meant to open up to new self-concepts, to be aware of the fact that you are allowed to grow and change in the ways that are best for you. And we're going to be feeling and sensing this even more within ourselves and within others in our orbit, others that we know. I also feel that part of what we wanted to experience in this lifetime involves these new soul experiences that we're having in earth-based lifetimes for the first time. And so understand that takes big courage and inspiration to move into a new self-understanding, to try something that maybe you've never done in previous lifetimes, to raise your hand and say, I'm going to go for it. Well, actually, the Aries doesn't raise their hand. They just go for it. And so there's a sense of, I'm moving in this direction. This is what's calling to me. And I think that many people are really going to be feeling that next call of their soul, that this is a new beginning point, and that what we are meant to open up into is still being revealed to us. We don't know what it is yet. It's incoming, and that's part of the big confusion, but it's something that we navigate through the frequencies, through the energetic vibrations, and by trusting ourselves, by trusting that you are navigating this path with your soul's wisdom, and to feel strong in that, to feel very confident in your capabilities to handle these energies, which can be quite uncertain at times. And so Ceres in Aries is also revealing to you more of what you need, more ways of self-nurturing and self-caring that even support your root chakra, that support what is good for your heart, what's good for your energy on a regular basis. There's a simplicity here as well, where you might realize you're ready for some simple formulas or understandings that are really good for your energy. As I say that, I'm getting the visual of daily herbs, supplements, nutrients, vitamins. All this energy in Aries means that we need to also be aware of our blood health and energy as it's moving through us and running through us. This can be related as well to inflammation, rosacea, sunburns, basically any redness or heat on the skin is also something that the Aries energy has to temper and take care of. So you want to look at where you have these early degrees of Aries in your chart. I know I've been mentioning this for a while now, so you're probably already aware, but it's a very important area of your life where you are being pushed to do something new and different. But I feel, again, the bigger perspective is that it's because your higher self is traveling right with you. Your higher self is right there supporting you in creating this new chapter and giving you more self-trust that you can do it, that you're going to have the ability to figure it out, and that as you move into maybe a new decision, situation, or environment, you're going to also see the new openings that occur because you said yes, because you said, this is what I want. Then the universe comes in and supports you in developing that path. So the Neptune energy is very much your higher self, and you can trust what that feels like for you. Perhaps there's a visualization you like to do, or just something that has meaning to you around that Neptunian influence. Then here comes Saturn, and Saturn is about, how can I make this real? How can I stabilize this Aries energy, have a strategic, practical new start? What do I need to get in place? What do I need to take care of? What are the responsibilities and commitments involved? I think that Saturn can be very effective in Aries because of the leadership and independence that's needed, the support to do anything on your own, and the willingness to work with what you've got to make it happen. Of course, you could hear all kinds of interpretations of Saturn and Aries, but I see it as a good match when there is a mature Aries energy involved. Now, when there's an immature Aries that is impatient, selfish, impulsive, and short-sighted, then the energy doesn't work, because then that energy runs up against the boundaries and the brick walls of Saturn. But with thoughtful planning and understanding of what it takes, then that Saturn in Aries can make something real and make it happen. So trust what that looks like for you. Trust what that feels like, and whether there's a visual you have of Saturn in Aries that you resonate with, or perhaps you're just opening up to that understanding and one will appear. You might come across something or someone that represents Saturn and Aries to you, and that would be a helpful way of understanding the energies. Now, as I mentioned earlier, I feel that we're going to be having new archetypal understandings here as these planets move through Aries and bring in new understandings of who we came here to be. So at a cosmic level, I feel this is supportive, positive development in owning all of your gifts across multiple lifetimes and timelines, and allowing it to converge here in these early degrees of Aries that are giving you a new sense of what you can do. So maybe you're going to feel some of those galactic energies come through. Maybe you're going to get some starseed visuals or work you've done on other planets. Maybe you're connecting to off-planet influences that are giving you information and downloads on what you're capable of and what you have access to now. I feel all of that is coming in, and it's being grounded by Saturn and Aries and giving us an understanding of what we can do now that was not previously available to us. And I mean that at a collective level, like the collective consciousness could not hold the frequency, but now it can. Now it absolutely can. And I think that's part of the new starts that are going to be coming through here as these planets move through the early degrees of Aries. Now, bringing back in the Ceres energy, this could be the galactic mother energy. This could be a connection to a cosmic maternal presence that you've always been aware of or connected to. This could certainly be the energy of the nurturing mother, the caretaker from other lifetimes. This could be so many things, but I guess I just want to invite you to expand your understanding here of how this Ceres energy is coming in and weaving her heart, her nurturing presence into this dynamic, and asking you to fully embody that strong feminine presence, to fully embody what it means to have a courageous, loving heart, to be confident in that feminine presence, and to know that even though you could be independent here and have to be with the strong Aries energy, I feel that Ceres in Aries is still going to hold the frequency of how we do need other people. We need other people for connection and sharing, that for all the ways we can do a lot on our own, we still want to have others in our orbit and in our presence that remind us that we're not completely alone. That yes, you have to make your own choices and do things independently, but don't let that cut off your heart. Don't let that cut down connections, relationships, or people who could still travel with you. The Aries energy is known for being a warrior and pioneer. There's strong leadership abilities here, which means that we are each being guided to honor that more for ourselves. But I think the Ceres energy is asking you to be very intentional around what you're fighting for or anything that you feel you have to prove, because both Saturn and Neptune will shut down the ego. Absolutely shut down that ego. Remind you, you can't talk a big game and then not follow through on it. You know, there is a need to be very responsible with our sense of self in these Aries energies. Now, the other thing that is important to pull in is that we still have Chiron in Aries. So Chiron is much further along in Aries in that third decan and is completing time in Aries in 2027. But Chiron has been in Aries since 2018 and showing us more of who we are beneath the surface, the softer, more vulnerable aspects of self that we weren't taught to fully embody. That Chiron energy is asking us to bring in new medicine that supports the truth of who you are. I always feel that Chiron frequency is basically softening us to more of our authentic self in Aries, revealing more of what we are good at without thinking or expecting ourselves to be the best or that it has to be a competition. Chiron softens all that down, slows it down, shows us the insecurities, the vulnerabilities, the hidden parts of ourselves that we then need to bring in, give a great big hug to, and accept fully. So since 2018, this Chiron in Aries has been showing you more ways of softening into your true self and has been opening up new healing capabilities, healing remedies, and options to explore and practice. So I feel that this Chiron in Aries has set the tone for us to already know more of who we really are, and that this could support now what these other three energies are bringing forth and are raising up in your consciousness. So basically, you can look back to 2018 and assess how much your self-identity has changed since 2018 as Chiron has moved through Aries and revealed to you what you need to work on, what you're learning about yourself, perhaps bringing you into previous experiences that were challenging and difficult, but giving you a loving touch, a loving hug around how to heal it and how to be kind and compassionate to yourself. And that is part of the softening effects of Chiron in Aries. So all four of these planets and asteroids in Aries are asking you to be more intentional and loving around your true self, asking you to take a risk, to do something new and different, and to start a new chapter in your life that, again, you could be sensing, this is a big deal for me. I haven't had this experience before in any of my earth-based lifetimes. Now, when I tap into the energy of new archetypes appearing, I honestly can't see specific ones. I'm not looking at a lineup of 8 new archetypes, for example. It's just a sense, it's a feeling of, yes, this is what's coming through for us to grasp and work with as part of our individual and collective evolutionary journeys. So if you're getting those messages and understandings of new archetypes, new energies weaving coming together and showing up, absolutely trust it, because I feel it's right on time. It's part of our journey to move into a new stage here of humanity's experiences and to see ourselves in a new way, in a new light. And so that is part of how this Aries influence can guide us as well as inspire us. And because this is a long-term influence that I'm discussing, it does go into 2026. I'm recording this May 12th, 2025, so I'll be super curious to see what develops. Please let me know in the comments, anything that you are feeling or sensing. And I do believe that we'll be talking about this again, that I'll do another podcast as we move more into these energies, discussing the new archetypes and the new identities that are arriving. Oh, and I was just reminded that I have a guided meditation that could assist you. It's about channeling your cosmic connections and giving you a way to visualize and trust what is coming into your awareness and into your energy field. So I'll put that link below this podcast too, in case you would need any guidance or assistance in connecting to more of the cosmic energies that are showing up for you and probably want to be known, probably want you to recognize them, see them, and work with them. So as always, I hope this information was helpful and resonated for you. Thank you so much for joining me. I'll be back every Monday and Wednesday for a new podcast episode. You can also find all of my current offerings at mollymccord.online if you want to learn more about your astrology chart or anything else that would assist you in expanding your knowledge of your energy in this lifetime. Please check out the show description if you want to listen to that podcast about Ceres and the moon. As always, wishing you a beautiful day ahead, and I look forward to connecting again soon as we continue discussing these wild astrology energies. Take good care, and I'll see you back here soon.